Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be filming a different type of review for you. Usually for a review video I only review one book, sometimes it's a series where I talk about multiple books within that series. This video is going to be a mashup review, which I have done before in the past. So what mashup reviews are is I pick 2 to 3, sometimes 4, depending on how many books I've read recently. Books that I think really I don't have too much to say about them that can garner a full length video for review. So I put them all in one video, if that makes sense. So I have 3 books here that I'm going to review for you in the same video, and it's a contemporary mashup review because they're all contemporary books and I'm on a contemporary streak, so expect that a lot for these next couple months because I plan to read a ton of contemporary and I plan to do a lot of mashup reviews because I find it easier to just put them all in one video in case you're interested in all these books instead of watching 3 separate videos on these books. I hope that makes sense. The books I will be reviewing and talking about today are Words in Deep Blue by Cass Crowley, The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, and Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. If you're interested in listening to my thoughts about every single one of these books, just keep watching further. If you're just interested in hearing my thoughts on one particular book, I will leave timestamps down below letting you know which time I start talking about a particular book. So without further ado, let's get into talking about these 3 books. I will keep them all spoiler free and keep them somewhat brief, let you know my thoughts and opinions and feelings on them as well as my rating. The first book I want to talk about is Words in Deep Blue by Cass Crowley. This is a very short book. This is all about a girl named Rachel, and years ago Rachel had this crush on Henry, her best friend. And then Rachel's about to move one day, so she decides to leave a love letter tucked to Henry in his favorite book, leave it on his desk for him to see. Time passes and Henry never calls Rachel, so she figures that nothing's really gonna ever come from it, so they stop talking, they stop kind of being best friends. So 5 or 6 years pass and Rachel's had a lot going on with her. Her brother actually passed away very recently, and so she actually moves back to the town where Henry lives and begins to work in Henry's parents' bookshop alongside Henry. So of course they're kind of forced to be together, and Rachel's really not telling anybody that her brother has passed away. And this book's really all about Rachel and Henry reconnecting again and, you know, maybe falling in love, maybe not. Either way, I really enjoyed this book. It wasn't my favorite contemporary I've ever read, but I'm happy I read it. The main reason I recommend this book to you is for the fact of the letter library. So in this book, Henry, one of the main characters' parents own this bookstore, and it's a used bookstore, and in this bookstore they have this section of their bookstore called the letter library, and in this section you cannot purchase any of these books. These are all books that you can just come and sit and read. You can write in the margins of these books, you can leave letters to people within these books, whether it be somebody you know, like you can say, hey, let's just start corresponding, I'll leave you a letter in the letter library in my favorite book, and you know, you could just correspond back and forth, or you could leave it to somebody completely random. Such a cool aspect of this book because you actually get to see different letters that other people have written to each other. Some people don't know who they've written to, some people do know that they've written to, but it's just a very beautiful like part of the book, and I love the whole bookstore aspect. If you're a book lover, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this video, I would recommend reading this book just for the sheer fact of the bookstore vibe. It's such a beautiful bookstore, and like I said, it's very short, and the writing is very beautiful, I will say. This takes place in Australia, and you definitely get the Australian vibes, and the main characters are great, and I wasn't particularly 100% about the romance, but the letter library is just a really unique aspect of this book, which is why I think I liked it a lot. I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and the whole letter library, like, is the sole reason why I think you should read this book, because it was just so unique and awesome, honestly. The next book I want to talk about is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. Everyone loves this book. I have not seen a bad review on this book, and I can understand why. This is my first Becky Albertalli book. She has also written Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which I just bought and am planning to read it very soon. I adored this book. I find this book so relatable. I think a lot of people will. If you're looking for the, you know, heart eyes emoji, this is it in a book. In this book we follow Molly, who has had so many crushes in her life, unrequited loves really, and she has just decided now that's the time she's going to kind of take chances and kind of, you know, really grasp love by the horns or whatever. And she is very different from her twin sister, Cassie. Cassie falls in like a lot. Cassie gets a new girlfriend and becomes completely enamored with her and just starts hanging out with her all the time, and with her new girlfriend has a new set of friends. Molly really likes a boy that is like kind of best friend friends with Cassie's girlfriend. And so she starts maybe thinking, I'll like him, he'll be my first kiss, all these other things. But then Molly starts working at this little boutique and she meets a boy named Reed who is completely not her type at all. He's kind of a Tolkien person. He wears like a Game of Thrones shirt every day or a Tolkien shirt, and he has season tickets to the Ren Fair, and she's like, I shouldn't like him, but she kind of does. So it's really honestly all about Molly and learning how to love and, you know, dealing with her unrequited love and dealing with her anxiety and things like that. This book is so diverse. So Molly and Cassie have two moms, you know, they have different, you know, sexualities going on in this book. They just have so much diversity in this book. One of her moms is African American, which is awesome, and it's such a diverse read, like so much diversity, which is awesome. And the bottom line is this book is cute. It's adorable. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's gonna make you smile, especially the second half of it. It's gonna make you want to smile the whole time and make you giddy and all those other things. The only thing I didn't love about this book was the writing. I found the writing to be a little bit too simplistic for my personal taste. I could understand completely why other people would like it. So the writing was just a little bit too simplistic for me, but of course that's personal preference, honestly. That's not even a huge downside to this book at all because the writing was good, just a little bit too simple for me. I also really love that Molly was overweight, and I love that we got kind of like fat girl rep. I don't know what the right terminology is for that. And I love how this wasn't like overly in your face about it. I feel like with some books they kind of like, they just want to be down on themselves all the time because they're overweight. And this one really, Molly embraces who she is and she comes to accept that, and I really like that because a lot of other books kind of don't do that. So I really like that aspect. I give this book a 4.5 out of 5. Closer to 5. I just found it to be so freaking cute. This is the perfect summer read, honestly. Like, if you haven't read Becky Albertalli, I'd highly suggest it. This was just a really, really adorable book. And the last book I want to talk about is Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. This is her newest release. She has written like 4 other books before, which I have read the majority of them and wasn't a really huge fan of them. So I was very, very hesitant to get into Windfall because I was just like, I haven't really enjoyed her books in the past. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this one. But I was actually pleasantly surprised, which that's a good thing because the reviews on Goodreads are kind of all over the place. Some people either really like this book, some people don't. I fell in the kind of really like it category. I will say this is my favorite Jennifer E. Smith book. Her other books kind of have like a niche going on with them. This one does, I guess, because it's got the whole lottery aspect going on with it, but I really enjoyed it, honestly. This book follows Alice. Alice is desperately in love with her best friend Teddy, and on the night of Teddy's 18th birthday, they're about to go to his birthday party. She stops and buys him a lottery ticket for you know, his birthday gift, and she fills it with the numbers of like things that mean things to her, like his birthday, her birthday, like the age they met, things like that. And it just so happens that he wins the lottery with this ticket. So this book is all about like him winning the lottery, what he does with the money, how it's going to affect his and Alice's relationship, and it really is honestly about Alice to the core of this book. This book, yes, it's feature a lot of romance in it because it's the kind of like, are Alice and Teddy gonna get together? Are they right for one another? But it really focuses on Alice. Alice was such a dynamic character to read about. She does not like change. She had a lot of change happen to her. Her parents died within 13 months apart from each other, and that was like 9 years ago. So she's still dealing with the fact of her parents dying, which of course is going to be a forever process for her, honestly. And so change is not something Alice likes. She likes things to stay the same. So when Teddy wins this lottery, she knows that everything is about to change. Teddy does need the money. Him and his mom are kind of on the poor side, and they really use it. And Alice is different. She volunteers at a soup kitchen. She does a lot of like volunteering and things like that because their parents were so into it. And it's just really different to see how different Alice and Teddy are. Alice is a very caring and thoughtful person, and Teddy is as well, but he shows it differently, and he's just kind of, I don't know, Teddy had a love-hate relationship within this book. A lot of time in this book, he would be very, very thoughtless, and Alice would do something and he wouldn't really care, or he was supposed to help Alice and he blew her off. And I was like, I don't understand how you could be in love with this guy because he's not that great. But he redeems himself constantly throughout this book. But still at the end, I was still like, I don't know if I'm on the Teddy train. I'm not sure. Either way, I really enjoyed this book. This book just really focuses a lot on dealing with family loss, dealing with, you know, going into a new family because Alice lives with her aunt and uncle and her cousin Leo, and I really love the relationship she had with her aunt and uncle. It was a very, very beautiful relationship. But I really enjoyed this book, and I definitely would honestly recommend it. It is a huge book, but I read this book in 2 days because it just was a fast-paced book. There was no point in time where I was really bored with it. I was very interested and compelled with Alice the character. I thought she was the main driving factor of this book, honestly. Like, she made me want to finish this book. So I really enjoyed this book. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. It was a solid contemporary read in my opinion, and my favorite of Jennifer E. Smith's books. So if you're like me and you haven't liked Jennifer E. Smith's books in the past, I would definitely give Windfall a try. I feel like her writing is different. It's grown a lot, and it's kind of like a different storyline, and I just really enjoyed this book, honestly. Like, I really am surprised on how much I liked it, but I'm very glad I read it. So there you have it, my thoughts and opinions on these 3 books. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of mashup review. If you did, let me know if you like seeing this. If I read like 3 sci-fis in a row, I could do like a mashup review on those. I do plan on having an adult like mashup review coming up very soon, where I have like a thriller and like 2 chick-lit-y books that I'm going to review for you. That should be coming out very, very soon. And I don't know, I just like doing mashup reviews. I feel like it's just fun, and I get to talk about 3 books in one video, which is always a fun thing. If you have read any of these books, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Did you have the same ratings as me? Did you feel the same way as I did? Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.